Hi guys, Sean from the competitive Overwatch subreddit. On Tuesday at the press conference, Rawkus, you mentioned that you played with Shadowburn and you knew his style very well. It seemed to be some sort of an Achilles heel for you guys today. Did he play any differently than you expected?
Not really. It was they played pretty much like a normal dive. It wasn't anything special. They played pretty coordinatedly. We made a couple mistakes, and it ultimately led to a loss. So.
Hi, Josh from Blitz Esports, also for Rawkus. We haven't really seen a whole lot of Moira play this weekend. I think it's namely you and Custa. So what are the specific factors that go into a Moira pick, and what does she offer that some of the other supports might not?
I think Moira's only use right now is to enable Reinhardt, because outside of Moira, she's never ever played without like a Reinhardt or maybe like some kind of offensive cheese on Lunar Colony. But like, she just enables Reinhardt because she has like the strongest tank healing in the game right now, and her beam is like so crucial. Like when you're healing a Reinhardt, you can send your whole team at them with beam and your Reinhardt swinging, and that's pretty much the only hero that can do that. Because if you're playing Ana, like D.Va is just gonna eat all your heals while your Reinhardt swinging and die. So that's pretty much why Moira is picked. Besides, the reason why she's not picked that much is because just Zed and Mercy are way too strong. Like, they have too much to offer compared to them. So that's pretty much it. Okay.
Mama's mad.
I hate that answer.
Next question.
Hey there, Adam with Action Esports. So going into today, I think there was a little bit of a big question mark over Philadelphia because of their lack of presence during the preseason. How much of their not being able to see them play on the stage like they were obviously able to see everybody else factored into the difficulty that you guys faced today?
I think it makes a huge difference. It's like especially having like a Korean coach like Tyrong, he's like incredibly smart and really good at analyzing the play that the enemy team runs. So just not having that ability to like at least see what their play style is makes a big difference. But you know, we still should have been able to bring it home.
Sabriel Maston, over buff. Back to Moira for a second here. Mercy is pretty much viewed as a must-pick these days. What made you opt for her, or for choosing Moira over Mercy on Control Center instead of maybe Lucio, who the speed boost isn't deemed as required anymore, at least right now?
I think the comp we ran was designed to play a really fast style, like using the speed boost to take space from the enemy team. But the really defensive tank composition of D.Va Zarya really helps shut that down because there's so much survivability for their backline. The McCree also helps with the stun threat and makes the Reinhardt a lot more scared to go aggressive because he can easily be bursted with one stun. I think overall they definitely had a stronger composition for us there. We were expecting a slightly different composition. I think most teams have been running the Lucio and Moira in practice. And we expected our extra DPS to be able to carry through, but I think they played like a really defensive style there, and they were just looking to bait our aggression. So our Lucio ended up being a kind of a liability. So I think that definitely credit to them on their strategic choice there.
Hi, it's Frito from Your Overwatch. Still on that round, if you were to swap in order to counter that strat, what would it be to? Or was it because they won the first fight, it was too late anyway, and you would have lost the ult economy?
The way Koth works is, or Control I should say, is that the first fight is insanely important. Winning first fight probably gets you a 75 or 80% win rate for that map just because of the way ultimate economy plays. But that doesn't mean it's over by any means. I think in hindsight, I would have liked to maybe run a Tracer there, have something to threaten the back line to keep them distracted so they can't play so defensively. I think it's also a comp that we probably should have dropped Lucio for to run something, also more damage oriented. Yeah. But, hindsight's 20/20, and it's a comp that we hadn't played against previously in practice, or we hadn't seen anybody use. So it definitely caught us a little off guard.
Hey there, this is a question for Jake. Jake, as we've been kind of talking to the Korean players over the last couple of days, they all seem to kind of swoon over your Junkrat play. Who would you say kind of elicits that same level of respect from you?
The players right now that I'm really looking up to and hoping to one day be as good as right now for me are Fleta and Effect, two players that I see as like really really mechanically talented, who also really understand how to play off their teammates and use the space that they create. So I think that if those players think that I'm good, I mean it's just a motivation for me to really want to meet their expectations and be the opponent they see me as.
Hey, Tyler, ESPN. Houston today had a Outlaws viewing party, and I think it was the biggest one by far so far. There was I believe 700-800 people watching your games. Have you guys been to Houston yet? Do you have any plans to go to Houston? And how does it feel representing, Houston and having such a big fan support, not just from the Optic gaming fans, but from the city that's really seemed to embrace you?
H-Town. I think we have like a meet and greet in the next I believe it's between stage 1 and stage 2. But we'll definitely be in town at some point. I'm not sure exactly the details on that just yet. But we will be visiting. We'll be checking out. We're definitely excited to represent Houston. Unfortunately, we couldn't bring it home today for the fans, but we're really looking to have a long and strong season to represent Houston.
Hey, Josh from Blitz Esports again. Another question for Jake. Continuing on all the Korean players talking about how much they want to play you, and then we have a lot of other players ever since the World Cup, I believe, always saying we want to play Jake, we want to face off against Jake. Why do you think that everybody wants to beat you specifically? They really, really want to beat you for some reason.
I don't know. I think what makes me maybe different than a lot of other DPS players is my focus is more on decision making than on outplay and aim. So I like to play off my teammates and outsmart my opponents rather than out aim them, and that's why I think characters like Junkrat and Soldier really play to my strengths, where controlling the right space and being in the right position is what allows me to best opponents. So I think other DPS players might see me as different than their normal aim duels in that they need to play my game, they need to outsmart me. So I think that if I had to guess, would be the reason that people see me as a different player.
Hi, it's Eddie from your Overwatch as well. I've just got a question about, do you guys have any process in place for dealing with close losses? Because I've been watching a lot of your series and you've always pushed your opponents, even in losses, very, very close. As a pro player, are those the hardest series to get over, or do you see them as the biggest learning opportunities for you? And do you go back over the games, close series losses especially, to try and get over that hump?
I can take this one. I think no matter if the game is close, we win decisively, we lose decisively, you still go over the boards and see where things went wrong, no matter what. Things with close losses, it might affect your mentality a bit, but every loss win should be the same way for you, a learning experience. You take it map by map basis, fight by fight basis, and you build a strong foundation to your teamwork, and then you go from there.
We'll take one more question.
This question is for LinkZr again. It's Frito from your Overwatch. This series, you stuck on the McCree quite long, and I was wondering what your thought process was with that, because clearly they were targeting with you. Was that a issue of you needing to go all in on the duels, or maybe a peel problem? What was kind of the problem there?
On what map?
Well, I guess particularly on maps where we normally wouldn't see McCree as often. So like Lijiang, maybe I Can Vault second. You stuck on the McCree in those situations and they just kept diving you. Is that what was the thought process there?
I think I made the misplays on I Can Vault second, and I think on Lijiang I should have swapped. But I think the thought process on McCree is that you you bait the dive in kinda, and you have your backline support you there. But I don't think my positioning was wrong in the sense that I wasn't able to receive support from my backline, and that kind of led me to just basically feed on like Li Jung. And I think swapping McCree would have been a more effective choice there. But I was kind of feeling good on McCree, so I kind of stuck with it. And I don't know how to explain it. It was like in-game decision I made that, on hindsight, I should have like changed.
I think overall, though, the McCree Junkrat proved really effective against their play style in a fundamental way. I think it was weak on Koth, which made it a lot harder to win those maps. But on the payloads and on 2CP, I think that having that much threaten in the backline meant that Shadowburn was really holding blades for minutes on end. That allowed us to play the ult economy really efficiently on Horizon Lunar Colony. And we have two really dangerous backliners, so they have to decide who they want to go on if they do commit to a dive. And then we both have the potential to save one another with clutch headshots or concussion mines. So I think the idea behind the McCree Junkrat is really that we can both play off each other's damage, and we can both protect one another as like an additional defensive character in the backline.
Just to take some blame off LinkZr, we kind of made that a team decision to try and stick with the Junkrat McCree. Just like after map 1, we really decided that that was the comp that we needed to run to beat them. But obviously we maybe need to find some leeway in the future.
Houston, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.